I'm being late for dinner. My favorite name is Grandma's.
Did you say she goes by Lisa?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, okay.
I go by. It's a long story.
Do you prefer Lisa
Melissa.
or do you prefer Melissa?
I will go by whatever.
Lisa, call her.
Okay, I'll call you Lisa.
You can call me Melissa.
I just heard her say grandma's her favorite.
Yes.
Did you say that?
Pronounced grandma.
That works.
It happened to me, but mine actually stuck, and I don't want people to call me Kathy because, like, my family.
Well,
That's it.
well,
Well, and Paul calls
I
me Kathy.
do, because you're right.
Yes, and that was a long, yeah, so
I
I
called
just,
you Catherine, then, because you wanted to be, I kind of. Once I heard
it's
your mom
okay.
with the
And
Kathy.
I know my mom calls me, I'm always Kathy, so
So I do speak to Kathy.
that's
Sorry.
okay. That's all right, Paul.
I
I'm
call
okay with
Cerise
that.
Petrie, her sister-in-law, Penny, Casey and Fitzpatrick and I, only two guys in the third father, because that was her name growing up, so.
we still call.
But sometimes people don't know what I'm talking about. So, if you don't have a big crowd.
It's pretty empty.
I'll turn it over.
Did.
Yeah, Up here tonight, and a new member.
It was the Michigan game, so I was obviously watching that game. And,
Right,
so
there's
finally,
that.
I did it, actually, I did it on Saturday.
The last
night,
meeting,
But it
is
didn't
that it?
decorate until
yeah,
yesterday.
I got sick
So,
the day before, and I stupidly managed to get in there. Or no, you did one other time.
Yeah, one.
Yeah. I don't miss much when I get, I have vertigo issues I have to deal with. Sometimes.
Just
Just
as busy as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't read anything. I slept through a couple meetings.
It slows down a bit before the holidays, because people don't want to necessarily go through prematurity, of course, when they're trying to bring the Christmas. But it is slower, yeah, a little bit. Until probably, I would say, like, maybe February,
Old
it's a
people
little bit
just-
slower than that time, so it's kind of nice.
That's all right.
It gives me time to, like, spend time at home between, during the
Yeah.
holidays than normal, that I wouldn't have. But I actually am off this week, which is really unusual to be off in town.
So this isn't, it's telling Jim all that, I never hear from him.
The last 3 years I've been gone out of state, and it's the first time I'm gonna be here for the winter fest, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Have you really? You've been gone?
I've been to Georgia 2 years in a row, and we've been down there. In fact, I was there when we heard the word about the Oxford City.
Oh, wow.
But then the year before that, we were up north in Traverse City or something, so, yeah, it's my first back.
At 6:30, so we'll convene the November 27th meeting of the zoning board of appeals. Everybody read the minutes tonight, or roll call. please?
Got it.
Okay.
I would move the minutes from October 23rd.
I wasn't here, so go ahead. Second.
Here we have a motion and seconds. Any opposed? Minutes approved. Next, public comment. I see no public other than you gentlemen.
Did you vote?
Pardon me?
Did you vote?
You did it inside out.
Oh, well, I said,
So Danny objections.
Oh, okay.
She's all those in favor.
all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
He said any opposed, you know, answer,
I'm
so
sorry.
streamlined it.
So next item of business is our public hearing tonight. Excuse me, request for variance to the parking requirements of section 7-1602 for property located at 1428 in the city road. Paul? Can you introduce yourself to us as well?
Hello, I'm Paul Omeroth. I'm active as city engineer for the city for the last 30 years or so. So I work with Jason on a regular basis behind the scenes. So appreciate the chance to be here. I apologize, I'm a little usually more formally dressed in this, but I'm here from Southfield after I got a long doctor appointment that I didn't expect.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, welcome, Paul. He's doing it.
Glad you got here.
Yeah. Probably not the best driving either.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, actually.
That's good.
So, I don't know if there's is there a button to get,
Yeah, I thought you,
just push
yeah,
power?
yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize I did that.
See if it's going to do it.
There's a presentation behind you. Feel free to spin around.
All right. So this is the Farm Boys marijuana grower. We're requesting the variance from the number of parking spaces from the normally required 15. They would like to be relieved of 9 of those to go down to 6. The subject property is Hemingway City Road near the east edge of the city in the industrial district. Facts to be aware of, if this is this proposed use is permitted by right. The frontage is on Hemingway City Road. It has a very large right of way at 135 feet. It abuts the railroad right of way to the southwest. So there's no winded road at the back. The building that exists is taking up about half of the available space on the lot. There's a large amount of concrete and landscaping between the building and the road that's been acting historically as parking, but it's not actually part of the property, it's the right of way. So the applicant originally submitted an application for a zoning permit on the site, which was denied due to the lack of parking. And finally, the applicant has communicated with the planning department that they've not been able to negotiate any type of shared parking agreement with the neighbors. Here's a view of the site currently from the road. The building is not being used at the present time. The red lines are a little bit off there, but that shows the approximate size of the parcel. It is one of the smallest in this area.
So, I'm sorry, is the white the building?
Yeah,
So it's actually not encroaching on the other property, right?
no, it's just
Okay.
the angle of the satellite picture
Thank you.
gets goofed up a bit, and the lines don't show quite right. Here's a plot plan for the property showing the existing building, and they would like to stripe 6 spaces out in front. Hopefully it's not really the front, it's kind of their side yard. Initially, they were hoping to put some parking in the front yard, literally, but as you can see, the property line is quite close to the front face of the building there. And the remainder of the area between there and the road is significant. We can't use that as official parking. Just a reminder that for a marijuana grow facility, the city has a relatively new ordinance that they require 1 space per employee in the largest working shift, as well as an additional 10 spaces or a minimum of 15. And that's the variance request is to be relieved of 9 of those spaces to be able to just install the 6 that they can fit on the site. So the applicant's response, they are required to have 15 spaces. However, this is a facility that's only going to have 2 employees regularly. And due to the size of the lot, they're unable to have any more than what they're proposing. And I'm going to go through the 4 standards here on the next slides rather than read on that. We'll just jump to the next slide. So standard number 1 is that the variance be granted without reason to prevent the owner from using the property for the permitted use or to render conformity unnecessarily burdensome. Staff finds in support that there are no options to locate the parking, required parking on the property due to the lack of space. And the finding in opposition is that another industrial use could potentially use this building and property and be able to conform with the zoning ordinance. Number two, the variance would do substantial justice to the applicant as well as the other property owners in the zoning district. And a lesser standard would not provide substantial relief and be more consistent with justice to others. Staff's finding and support is that the variance will permit the applicant to establish a permitted use in the zoning district. Other properties along the south side of Inley City Road also have very constrained parking areas due to the relatively small amount of land available between the Inley City Road and the right of way, and the railroad right of way. The third standard is the problem is due to circumstances unique to the property and not the general conditions of the area. Staff would agree with that, that this strip again is rather narrow, there's not a lot of depth to the properties, and this one in particular is smaller than the majority of them. The property, like immediately to the northwest, is larger and has more available parking. In opposition, however, the entire Inley City corridor is subject to these severe space limitations due to the location of the road and the railroad tracks. The city could consider a special overlay district or an amendment to the ordinance to address limitations for all the properties in this area. And finally, the fourth standard, the problem that resulted in the need for the variance was not created by the option of previous owners of the property. And staff supports that the issue is, in this case, is the small size of the lot and the lack of available area for parking. The current owner did not cause either of these conditions. I'm sorry, there's one more, number 5.
I was gonna tell you.
Trying to wrap it up here. The issuance of the variance would still ensure that the spirit of the ordinance is observed, public safety is secured, and substantial justice is done. Staff finding and support, the applicant has stated that there is only 2 employees planning to be working in the building. The drawing submitted with the zoning permit application that was denied stated 5 employees at the site. Due to the nature of the proposed use, there should not be any additional traffic or other use other than loading and unloading. On the other side of the coin, the intent of this ordinance provision is to ensure that adequate parking is available without that parking on the site. Other things that might result, of course, is that there will be parking in the right of way, which would be intended to serve eventually as a cross access route between the businesses and not as additional parking. I thought there was one with the view of the site. For the openings there.
Yeah, that was a question I had, Paul, is if we had, we have the
You got the
schematic
plan
in there. Being the nature of the business, you're talking parking and available space, does every business, even something like this, maybe in the smaller scale, does it require a trash receptacle? And therefore, where would that be? Is that on the plan anywhere? To access, get a truck in there, or?
Yes, that is a good question. I did not see that called out, so we'll have to ask the applicant about that.
There's a space behind the building.
Well, you mentioned,
Can't tell about the, is this the difference between the back of the property line and the railroad right of way?
It looks like it's about 5 feet is all they have.
Oh, yeah, I guess they're way from it.
Yeah.
They really get a receptacle in there. Okay, sorry, I couldn't catch that.
before we ask that about that, excuse me, on the northbound, you talked the north side of the lot. You originally mentioned you talked about parking over there, and you said that the lot line prohibited it. Is that what you meant?
Right away.
Yeah, let me go back. I thought there was,
You can bring up, yes, that particular picture there,
or maybe this one here. We can look at that with a picture.
There we go, yeah.
that would be fine as well.
Okay. Yeah, the lot line is, sorry, the line here is representing
Yeah.
Right,
the, so just so you can have a parking place here, would stick out about there. Which is like half in the right.
My question is, that building's been there for as long as I can remember. I've been here my entire life. They've always parked cars across the front. There's cars parked across the front today. Is that a problem? Is that in the right of way? Why are those spots not allowed to be used?
Because we're trying to apply the actual zoning ordinance, we can't approve parking in the right way.
Okay, good.
Self-contained on their own property.
I work at a business on that road, and we have a similar circumstances. The cars all parked up front. My curiosity is where's the right of way for the rest of those businesses? On that side of the road, are we all infringing upon right of way?
Yes.
We all are. Okay, so we're all gonna be subject to.
You had to ask.
I did have to ask, yes, I did. Because if we go back to the picture, let's go back to the picture of the brown building with all the cars in front of it.
Right.
Yeah, it's always been there, right?
That has looked like that for as long as Taylor's has been in business. Before Taylor's, Thumb Radiator was in there, they've always parked in that manner. So why are we,
Those are
or my
considered-
other question in lies, okay, you're right away that you were talking about, can we put cars going that way, pulling park to the left, like they are in this picture?
And that
How
would be-
many spaces would be able to go there?
well, that would be in the right of way again.
That's considered a right of way.
On the side, that's a loading zone it shows. You're talking about on this side?
Yeah, where it says loading zone, can we move the loading zone over to the right in this image and use the left side for parking cars?
And the zoning expert that you know, can
Me
we look
neither.
into that?
They're required to have the loading zone, so much of the loading space, there's requirements. And we cannot officially count any parking spaces that are not located on their actual parcel.
I
When
see.
it comes to their parking calculations, anything in the right of way, whether it's illegal or not, enforced or not, we can't consider that for their zoning permit, only what's included on their parcel.
Okay,
Can they technically move the loading zone to the front yard?
I don't know where they would, because they have to have 500 square feet.
So
hence the variance that they're requesting.
Yeah, and I mean, that wouldn't always be occupied, it could be used for a, loading zone is for a dumpster, deliveries and trash pickup and things like that.
Because I could see where the trash could be put off to the side of the one garage door and probably not be in the way.
Yeah, that's the purpose of having that loading zone requirement, is to give larger vehicles an area to maneuver.
Okay,
does the planning staff have a recommendation?
Yes, we recommend that the variance be granted to the certification.
And then we'll talk to you folks in just a second. That's why I was curious about the north side. In the older days of the ZBA, when people would come in and they needed more room, we would just back up the building, and in this case, could be backed up about 8 feet. And you can go right around the corner, and I looked to see what you had inside there. And then that would sometimes solve the problem, particularly in a new build. People would come in and say, well, I can't give you the variance, or we'll give you 3 spots, but we can come around the corner. That would give you, amounts to about 5 spots in the front. So there is a way of accommodating the ordinance, it's just, that's not what you're asking for, I understand. But those are considerations we used to make during the meeting, we actually discuss these things and modify the parking. Over the last 10 years or so, it's become this very structured thing, but we used to move it around, everybody'd be happy, and
Well,
out the door we'd go.
he mentioned, in front of the building, we have a lot of parking, but per the building department, they said unless the city wanted that space, then we won't be able to park there.
Okay,
So I don't see that happening, but.
Okay, I just wanted to say that to you.
And not to belabor, the reason I asked about the parking, or excuse me, the dumpster.
Yeah.
I know this isn't a site plan, normally that would come up, is to placement in our city would require, 3-sided, secure, fenced even dumpster spots. So would that still keep, I mean, if this was approved as a variance, would building say, hey, one of those spots, we have to put a dumpster somewhere, so that would take up one of those spots?
I can mention it to Jason, and it would probably be
It's important
addressed,
for the applicant to know as well as for us.
Yeah,
It
I
could
was
be
curious
addressed on
if
the
it was
zoning
that
permit.
or-
I'm sorry?
it could be addressed when he's reviewing the zoning permit,
Oh.
if this is granted.
Isn't it business use a dumpster? I'm just curious.
Right, I don't know, and I don't know if they're, just in nature of business.
And we live an hour away, so we always contact, so we basically use one car. And if we happen to need a couple more people, they're also gonna use one car, because. So I feel like 6 spots are plenty for us. And that's besides the other spots up front that we could probably use, because
So you did mention in response to standard 3, right, that the city could consider a special overlay. Is that being considered at any level of the city right now, or is that just, no?
Yeah, just to add to that, Jason and I did talk about, how there's a lot of space out in front and, a well thought out planned environment. We want to start creating a separate service drive so that some of these driveways that are along there can be eliminated. And people could share each other's driveway to get from one site to the next. Would make it a safer condition. So if this was a complete rebuild of a site, where they were investing more money in the site, then we could require starting with a service drive out there that would interconnect with the others. In this case, if they're not doing that, we would ask at least if they would post no parking signs out there in the right of way so that it doesn't just turn back to another parking lot. Because if they're not using it, the neighbors may still want to.
Right, that's exactly.
yeah, we could talk to them there.
It's also the issue of greenery too, we could discuss that also. It's another deterrent for just people pulling up and doing that. Since your parking requirements are so minimal, we think, we talk about that.
So I did actually open the public.
No, right,
hearing,
no.
So I will. Public hearing is now open. Again, include yourselves. If you address anything that you, with your situation. you can make a
Well, I feel like
presentation.
he went over everything pretty much. I'll just simplify it, like I said. We're gonna be using a lot of machines. So it's not a retail business. It's basically a business that me and him can operate. And if we needed more people, there won't be more than 2 more people. And like I said, we live far, we live about an hour away. So we always carpool. So maximum space we would be using is 3 parking lots. So now that we have 6 and the other spaces up front, I feel like we have plenty. It's just that we can't use them legally, the ones up front. We can put them on the side, but I think it doesn't mean we can't still use them. So we're just proposing that we go down to 6 and 15 because it's going to be plenty for what we're looking to do.
Have you purchased this property?
But we're actually, no, we're renting it.
Renting?
Yes.
Is that Mr.,
Gotcha.
yeah, is there 2 of them?
2 of them, yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
And are you two a partnership,
We're a partnership, yes. With the 2 of them.
not a corporation?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I got a couple questions if I might, and I know everybody has a number of them, so I'll try to make it brief. The 2 employee thing, are you talking the federal standard, state standard, 30 hours and more a week to be an employee, or are we talking about people that might be subcontractors or part-time employees?
So
That, rather than you saying, well, it's, only gonna be so many cars there.
right.
We need some sort of, at least I do, some sort of a standard of what your definition, you can use the legal definition of employee for the state of Michigan, but I need to kind of know who else is gonna be there and when.
So when I said 2 employees, it means me and him. So we're basically the owners.
Full-time employees.
Full-time employees, that would be us too. And then you could call it as we're not sure how much load there will be. So if we needed help, we could say there would be like a couple more contractors.
Yeah.
That's
Will they be employees or subcontractors?
subcontractors, because I don't think we're gonna need like full parking employees. We run machines.
Okay.
We're not sure because we're not sure about the load, but based on our experience, we're not gonna need any full-time or part-time employees.
So you can see if I hear the word employee, immediately I go, oh, well, That's nice if two people are employees and four other people are subcontractors, they're still there using the parking spots, you get where I'm going.
I
You understand what I'm
I
saying?
get what you're saying. Yeah, I just said if we get super busy, we might need 2 more section parkers.
I see.
So that would be good, 3 parking spots.
Okay. And then what about loading and unloading there? You have the spot there.
We have the, yeah,
What
we
do you
have the loading,
anticipate, how does that all work?
yeah, we have the loading zone and, I guess, that'll work for us, because we don't have a lot of stuff in,
Yeah, what would they be driving?
we have a truck, so.
That, what you,
Yeah, like a normal truck, like a Chevy Silverado truck.
pardon me?
A Chevy Silverado truck.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, yeah. We're not gonna need heavy
you're
machinery.
not talking about
Like a loading dock.
No, some of the trucks.
Talking a semi truck.
No.
5-foot
box
belts
trucks.
or
No.
bigger.
The heaviest things we'll have is the dirt.
Yeah.
Small.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because they create parking problems too, when
Absolutely.
people are coming and going. Even though there's not very many of them,
Yeah.
it's important to understand the dynamic. So I drive by and I see a truck backing up and there's 2 over here, next thing you know, somebody's pulling around in the neighbor's lot. And I'm going,
Yeah,
wait a minute, why do we let this happen?
right.
We want to make sure that it's going to go down about the way we're talking.
Yeah, it's gonna be the pickup Chevy
Okay,
trucks.
that's real important to me, and I know it is the rest of the board.
For sure. Absolutely.
Thanks, I think that was all I had. So that's the other side.
No, no, no. Okay. Is there any more questions for us?
So the question that, maybe I didn't understand this, the 6 spaces that are being proposed here, what's the shaded area in the middle?
That's for the handicap.
Oh, that's
We have
handicap.
one handicap.
So is that including the 6 then?
Yes, so
Yes,
one,
okay.
yes, we just put it there just in case.
Well, you're required to put it there,
Well,
right?
that would actually be
Required.
7, right? That shaded area is where they unload
It would have
handicap.
been
right?
7,
Oh,
yes,
no, I
but
see.
handicaps need wider.
Yeah, so the shaded area is where you unload the handicap, the space needed
Yes.
for the handicap.
So that's
parker.
not a parking space,
No.
the shaded, I'm talking about the diagonal,
The shaded, no, it's just extra space for the handicap, yeah,
okay.
in case they need.
I know that was maybe a 7th spot and I was missing something. Okay.
I took that view.
Okay, thank you.
And about the concrete walk in the front,
Looks like there's a walk in the front facing Imlay City Road, but that will just remain as
I believe it's 5 foot if I'm
Like
reading.
That's gonna
the
stay.
map correctly.
Yes.
And then there's the road, not road, but parking lots that are in front of that sidewalk.
right, yeah,
If you look at the round picture, you might see them closer.
okay.
Will those be staying there, or will you think it'd be probably remove them because it's a right of way area?
Talking about the front of the building.
Yeah, where the parking lots are. It's just a question.
We weren't thinking of removing them, to be honest.
Removing them?
Good.
Now, I know we said with the right of way, you can't get traditional parking in there, right?
Yeah.
But could you get, instead of, that building is north-south, right?
Correct.
Could you get east-west, like 2 spots in front of the building?
Yeah, it's the building department and they said.
Okay, I just didn't know if that's right.
I'm not
We asked Jason, I asked Jason.
Okay.
Okay.
So, in that picture, Paul, all those vehicles on the left, that is your property, that is the
That is the
property
problem,
vehicles,
yes.
okay.
Yes. There's
And those first vehicles, and those are in violation, Paul, correct? If I'm
Yeah.
hearing you right? First,
At least
2, 3, 4.
first 3.
Those are cameras, yeah, they're parking vehicles.
So- So the cars that are on the left that obviously are there now, that would be your loading zone,
That would
correct?
be our loading zone.
But that's not their loading zone. I mean, they're not parked in a loading zone. It's not already in a pre-existing loading zone. Is that correct, Paul?
No, I don't think it's marked as anything right now.
Okay.
Yes, no markers.
May have no problem getting them used to that parking there. That's
Yeah.
something to be anticipated.
Put those signs out that have like,
A
you
lot of
know,
people doing that.
towed.
like, You're out there, Dwayne, you know.
Yeah.
I know all too well with the
Yeah.
business and the folks that own it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's been,
I was out there today, you can see there's activity around 5 o'clock.
There's approximately, I was there on Thursday as well as Sunday both, and I counted no less than 13 vehicles plus the 2 tow trucks.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk to them, but they're nice people, right? And I think we should have talked.
I don't know what the arrangement is with Taylor's and the current property owner, but I believe they have some kind of understanding, which is none of my business, like I say.
No, it's good to.
But yeah, I think Taylor's are gonna have a hard time with their parking situation as well. When this moves forward, but again, I don't
Me too.
account these folks at all for what's going on there.
Yes, I'm just saying some of these practical difficulties that occur.
Yes.
Is there any room, Paul, for greenery on the north side? I glanced, I wasn't thinking that when I came up, on the other side of the sidewalk.
Is it on the north side?
Yep.
Oh,
There is
okay.
room, I
Yeah.
don't think that the city has the right to require that. It's not a site plan, it's just a reuse of the building.
It's, it goes sidewalks, parking lots, and then pavement.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I guess you could put
I'm not
some,
sure about the thing. We've required that, parking, variances before,
Oh, I see, it's a condition of the.
a condition of the, yes, of the granting of the variance. Reason would be to deter that very thing we're talking about, the blocking with that forward. Because I think they're gonna pull up there and try to park.
and I think the removing of the barriers would help assist with that. That's why I asked what your intentions for those were. Because if I pull into a parking lot and I see
And you
one
see
of those,
those
my brain
barriers.
says park here.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, Paul, in front of the
Yeah, the north side,
walkway?
on this side of the walk.
But this side of the walkway?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some greenery in
that
there.
definitely would prevent them from parking there, I would think.
That's a quick question. Is it illegal to park there? Now that there's space and the city has the new spot?
It's not being enforced, because there's no signs, but if you. as part of the-
Technically, it's
As a
fine.
part of the,
It's a violation.
variance, you could also have the posts, no parking. sign.
Whether you get through the cordon parking lot 5 inches,
Yes,
dust in the wind, but.
there'd be a lot of,
Yeah. It also protects you a little bit. It's just a thought. We've done it as conditions before. It's just a thought we can discuss it as a board.
Would be more questions for the applicant? In the public hearing segment.
I'm good, thank you.
Close public hearing, now we've deliberated the more here. Can I ask a question, Tim? If I could first, back on that slide, Paul, if you could just put that one right back up, I'm sorry. You probably know better, Wayne. The immediate property to the west, to the right in that frame.
that used to be Bernie's used cars.
Okay, so that's in between where Racy's Extreme used to be, was now another marijuana
Correct.
facility. So that is still vacant?
That is my understanding, yes.
And the reason I was going with that is, have we, I don't see any correspondence, anybody, any correspondence from neighbors speak to this issue?
Nope.
Objections,
Nothing.
support?
And I've heard of no activity in that particular building, or anyone even looking into it. That might be an expansion for you folks.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, I could give my opinion. I think that Paul did a great, and there's 2 Pauls here, so I have to look at you, so I'm not looking at you. But I think, our planning, consultant here, did a good job at pointing out the, reasons as to why, the applicant would meet each of those standards. So I think, I would make a motion to approve the variance requested by Calvin Boutros, and I'm going to spell their names, and
Body,
Fadi,
Sayuji,
Sayuji,
Sayuji.
Sayuji,
Yep.
from section 7-16.02 for relief of 9 required parking spaces to permit a total of 6 parking spaces for a marijuana grow facility at 1428 Elm City Road, because it meets all standards in section 7-22.04 subparent E.
So do I have a second that motion?
We're gonna need some discussion.
Okay, we have a motion and a
Got a
second
motion on the
for
floor.
motion and a second for the discussion.
Yeah, I would, my main concern is nothing that we're not talking about. I think the rest of what you're saying is okay. I'm concerned with being able to control the employee situation. There's no way we can really do that. I just want to point that out, other than, I guess we could. And we actually can't, so. You could, and maybe add to the motion that the facility would be limited to not more than 4 employees. Something like that. That's a little difficult.
Can we do that?
So I said it's a little difficult, Paul.
I think that's, I think that
Impossible to enforce. Right, it would be really hard to.
Yeah, I know. So next item would be, can't have that, how about some trees?
I like the tree idea, because I think the tree will resolve the issue of people parking in the front.
You need
We're
to,
not
Where
supposed
are
to
you talking
park.
about? So where do you want this tree?
just north of the sidewalk.
Okay,
Part of the concrete sidewalk, it's like 5 feet.
all right.
So they would have to do some landscaping in front of the
Right.
sidewalk is what you're implying.
As a condition of, right, one that'll look better.
Our main door to the building, that's where it was, so when the trees are from.
On the north side,
So leave the concrete walkway, right, the 5 feet, and
Sure.
then in front of that, you would put the trees.
right,
Right,
There you
so
go.
then it prevents
Could be
people from
4
parking
foot.
where they should be parking.
You
shrubbery,
could maybe do box planters with shrubs, things of that nature.
shrubbery.
My question is, can you do that? This is easy, or is this like a?
It's a condition of granting the parking spots for the building. Otherwise, we can move them back around in front of the building.
But I don't think it should be a box planter, because box planters
we
actually
want
are
a plan.
temporary. You want it to be a permanent thing where people are actually there.
I agree.
So,
I mean, you get so close to the road, you're gonna get salt and you kill it anyway, if it's not.
And does that encroach into the,
You just put, it doesn't have to be
Sightline.
arborvitae, it can be yew, shrubbery.
right,
A lot of times we talk about the height.
Or maybe put a sign up or spray paint no parking. Can we do that?
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
Can we spray paint no parking and put a sign? Maybe?
don't know why not, true property.
Because that's better than.
I don't know
trees.
the answer to that.
You know, I think this is a different situation, where- I don't know how long ago it was. So there was gonna be that marijuana, I don't know if it just imploded, but it's gonna be between, oh, is it? Okay. Between Arnold's, and that was an issue where I think I remember saying, gosh, what if this goes away? And I think the variance was that they were only had 4 parking spots for a 14,000 square foot place, like, you can't do retail if that went away. Here, at least this is an existing building versus a new build. And that's the condition, and that's the hardship, I guess. That's,
Well,
you're
it's
boxed
not
in by the
And
railroad.
it's not retail.
Right,
They'll probably get you January.
okay.
Their main issue here is the configuration of the lot. They're narrowed back, and the setback is very short, and then they've got a long setback in front that pushes the building back. So they've got that, I think he tried to accentuate that thing. So that's, I'm in agreement with the motion. I would just like to add some green.
Are you talking like deciduous, or are you talking like arborvitae's?
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of trees.
Evergreen stuff.
Evergreen type of
Yes,
things,
in the
so
winter,
that-
yeah.
Okay.
Usually you put a height on it, well, this is something we do. You can put trees up there, but they gotta deal with salt.
It's 48
Um,
feet.
It just as a condition of granting the variance, the intent of it is to keep the traffic out away from the building and keep the traffic over there where it's supposed to be. People start occupying the lots.
I just wanted to make sure that we're specific enough, so if we're gonna say 6, you're saying 6 evergreen trees, because it's a 48-foot.
I don't think it's a good idea to put trees there, because, you know, like, what we're doing has to be like hospital put inside, and trees might contain all the spiders and all these things that
Oh,
could transfer inside, so we're trying to limit any landscaping. We're trying to keep it clean around the building. Because we can't have any
I
contamination.
hadn't thought about
so-
that.
I mean, it's just, that's the nature of the work that we're doing. It has to be extra clean.
And thought of it is
Like
you're
the
on
last,
order, but that's okay.
we have
That's a
those
good
trees
point,
at
though.
my
We don't
house
wanna
and
do
I see
something
all the
that's gonna cause
spiders and
a
stuff.
Well, all I was trying to think is get it back a little bit, that's all. Make it look a little better, make it look, you know,
We could try to do something, but I'm just saying, trees wouldn't be a good idea for the nature of business we're.
evergreens you think can be invasive to adult?
Yeah.
Any trees?
Absolutely. There's spider mites.
Oh,
It
that's true.
takes
Spider
a
mites.
couple of them to produce millions.
I mean,
Couple
adult,
of years.
you know.
So we're trying to keep that as clean as possible.
Well, it's a good point. You know, we can withdraw. Do you have any other ideas to move that back a little bit? That was only my concern.
Well, I think we talked about it, just requiring no parking signs, right? That's something we require, and then it's blatantly there. It's not like people say, I don't know, right? So we do have an enforcer in the city enforcing it. It's blatantly pointed out that it's no parking.
I think, I don't know, whenever I see a parking spot, I want to pull in and it says, you know, this vehicle will be towed at
Yeah.
owner's expense. That makes me not want to park
Yeah,
there.
We could
So
definitely
maybe you
do
could
that.
put those kind of signs up and then people will go think, you know, twice as to whether they should be parking there.
There's gonna be
So-
cameras too there.
Yeah, so that might be something
Don't
to
be
include.
afraid to
Do you
park
want to
there.
include that?
Yes.
Yes.
We could,
Okay.
we could put the signs here, cameras here, you know,
Okay.
throwaway zone.
I would be willing to amend my motion to include the requirement that you put in those signs.
Sure.
How do you want to say how many, Paul?
Two,
Two?
probably do it.
Okay, two, some type of no parking signs.
Sure. That shouldn't be a problem.
But are you only saying now 2 spots? Because when we looked at that one slide, and I thought Paul said that maybe it's maybe 3 or 4 cars that are in that,
I don't, well,
is that,
Well,
Usually
depending on
it's-
how you do the signs, you can decide toys,
Okay.
don't have the arrows.
Yeah.
in
usually a
between,
sign
however
will
you want
cover
to-
a couple spots,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 3.
okay,
Sure. Lisa, do you
yeah,
have an
when
opinion
you're
on
saying
it?
sign, you're
I
talking,
think it depends on the verbiage on the sign, if you make it
Yeah.
clear. I don't think we need one for each spot, but I think the verbiage needs to say this
We'll say
area.
no parking from the building, throwaway
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah.
I think the arrow idea is a good idea, though, that
Yeah,
way they
one
know
and
it's
then
the
the spots.
entire
Yeah.
spots in front, yeah.
Mhm.
So you
I would second
supported
that
it,
with the
the
signage.
amendment? Okay.
I do.
okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. Ready for a vote? Is this a roll call, Kim?
We can,
Let's do that.
okay. Paul,
Aye.
Ken,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye as well.
Catherine,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
and Dwayne.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous.
Good luck.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for your input on the issues.
Yeah, thanks so much. And that's a great idea. Put it
Well, I want to
aside.
have, don't get a bunch of people working in there. 'Cause
No.
I'm gonna keep an eye on
You
it.
can't afford them.
He's gonna be okay.
It's a small building.
And so will Dwayne. Doug,
I'm not
here,
an
just
employee.
guys watching all this. You cannot, rescind your thing, because it's conditioned now. You know, you have attested to that, you signed in your application, you went from 5 to 2 employees, so it's part of,
Okay, perfect.
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night, Kim.
Thank you.
Do you need anything from us?
No, so Jason will probably, send you the approved zoning permit next week, but I will send an email to the building department before I leave tonight, letting them know that you've got the permit. And you can contact Marilyn as well.
I was went by the next
I have a hard time getting signals.
after these, coming up to
People are gonna want stuff like that.
Well, that's a clear situation. It truly is. In my understanding is that I have an arrangement right now with property owners. That'll
Hopefully, yeah, that'll have to change,
Yeah.
right?
So our next, only other business is, other business, election of secretary, since Eric is no longer on the board.
I signed up for that.
So Dwayne has expressed interest
Oh, good.
to be secretary, and I don't have a problem with that.
I would
I'll
move
second
that.
my motion.
If that's a motion by somebody.
I'll make the motion. Well, you can make the motion and I'll
Yep,
support
okay,
it.
I'll make it.
I moved, I apologize.
I'll make the motion to nominate, to appoint Dwayne as our election, or sorry, as our secretary.
How did you get elected?
So then
So
Paul,
technically, you
supported that?
are being elected.
Who's there a second?
Paul, you supported that?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. How do we vote on that?
All in favor?
All in favor?
I don't think you need a
Aye.
roll call.
Aye.
There,
You're on.
fine.
I'm a secretary.
You are.
Training report? You know, any information?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'll move to
I moved,
adjourn.
go ahead.
Oh, I beat you like by, like
Did I
maybe
make
1
you down here, or
second.
left? I think you're running for office or something.
Adjournment in stereo.
Okay.
Not right now.
Getting
at the
adjourned at
moment.
7:12.
Okay. You just want to shut that down?
It's too right.
Actually.
Hey, I gotta ask.
Okay.
She was gone.
Is that mine or yours? Yeah.
Is this yours? Leave it in the car?
Yeah, sorry.
I didn't see who
It's weird how this site plans this time of year. Ken, it's nice to meet you. I don't know if I was here the last time you were here. I don't remember meeting you.
We heard
so-
about the farm one? I thought you were here. Maybe not.
Okay, gosh, my
We
memory
did
is
the
not
farm
good.
building, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
well,
why
we had a lot of those. I
Damn
think
phone,
we
I
had that
don't use
voting
them.
information. So,
I think we're gonna
I
have
could bring it.
I think it's coming, yeah, probably gonna be again.
Just-
So, yeah. Well, welcome to 2 new members of our zoning board. of appeals.
I'm calling it, Paul, I'm feeling it vibrating.